MCAS results now include growth data in addition to performance data, allowing educators to redefine how we think about student performance. In the past, MCAS data showed us only how individual students were achieving relative to state standards. With growth measures, we can now view progress in an individual student's achievement relative to students with similar testing histories. Growth data gives us a way to measure progress for all students, regardless of their performance level on the state assessment. This information can provide evidence of improvement even for the lowest achieving students. Growth measures also give high-achieving students and schools something to strive for beyond proficiency. Because growth is a measure of progress, growth data allows educators to better explore what types of programs, instruction, or interventions work best for different types of students. The MCAS Achievement and Growth Report is useful for all stakeholders who want to examine and understand trends in students' proficiency levels and growth at the district level. Click each on-screen question to learn more about this report. The MCAS Achievement and Growth Report displays a scatter plot of MCAS student growth scores and the percent of students proficient for each grade and subject area for 2008 through the most recent assessment. A dot is plotted for each subgroup according to the percentage of students who are proficient or higher on the y-axis, and the median student growth percentile for that subgroup on the x-axis. The state is represented by an X on the state's median SGP at 50, and in alignment with the percentage of students statewide who are proficient or higher on the MCAS assessment being reported. Each dot on the graph represents the subgroup selected from the drop-down, and the size of the dot represents the size of the subgroup population. This report shows data within a district, so you can choose to look at different schools, grade levels, races and ethnicities, and other subgroups within your district. This allows you to easily see how the performance and growth of different subgroups compare to each other. You can hover over any dot on the scatter plot to view more information about the student population it represents. The data initially displays for English Language Arts, the most recent school year, district, and grade level as a subgroup. But you can easily change the options at the top of the report. Remember to click Submit after making your selections to get the data you want to see. Below the graph, a table shows the selected subgroup and the median SGP, the number of students included in the SGP calculation, and the number and percentage of students who achieved at a proficient or higher performance level. You can use this scatter plot to see the percent of students who achieved at the proficient level or higher, and their median growth scores, so you can compare the different subgroups to each other. Note that the upper right-hand quadrant of the chart is where we'd like to see the most dots. Before you look too closely at the data, it's a good idea to identify some guiding questions that can focus your navigation and analysis. Of course, these questions should reflect your unique interests and concerns, but the questions shown here can get you started. You might want to know how students at each grade level performed on the MCAS and what their growth was from last year. You can easily see that students in 8th and 4th grade performed well on the assessment and showed high growth from the previous year. Both grades have median SGPs that are more than 10 points higher than the state median and are in the higher growth range. While the percentage of students who are in proficient or higher in 4th grade is well below the state average, their high growth is an indication of substantial improvement. We can also see that most grades in this district are showing growth in the typical range and have achievement near the state average. Let's dig into 5th grade, given that these students are in the lower growth range. When we filter to just the 5th grade, we can see that the percent of students scoring proficient or above is lower than the state average, and our district's median SGP of 38 is in the low growth range. We may want to look further into how students have performed on the 5th grade ELA MCAS over time before we draw any conclusions about curriculum or instruction. Once you've fully explored this report and analyzed the data you found there, you'll want to plan next steps. From the MCAS Achievement and Growth Report, you might want to look at more MCAS data. You can analyze achievement over time using either the district or school MCAS Achievement by Year reports, PE 305 or PE 405. Additionally, CU 306 and CU 406, MCAS Achievement by Standards, will help you analyze performance on a deeper level to understand how students are performing in specific areas of the ELA, math, and science assessments. You'll certainly want to click the on-screen link to access a wealth of growth-related information on the ESE's website. Among other resources, you'll find videos that explain growth model basics and guides to understanding student growth percentiles. Finally, the District Analysis and Review Tools, or DARTs, are excellent resources to help you assess data over time with graphs and charts, and explore comparisons between districts and schools on a number of additional data points, including data about assessments and achievement gaps. You can look at the Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment Report to compare your district's MCAS performance over time to other districts or the state.